We have a special speaker today, and I just want to pull up her bio real quick. Linda Olson, who, if you were in Kyoto, you saw her at our opening session, and I posted the video from that, which was amazing. She's an author and motivational speaker with a get out and go message. And she's committed to empowering Parkinson's patients and families to live life as full as possible in spite of their disabilities. She shares personal experiences that are filled with humor, as well as practical tips, resources, and heartfelt motivation. This is all from her book that's coming out. And her life experience as a triple amputee gives her the unique ability to show people how.
The woman who is a featured speaker today, San. Sharon, this woman who is a featured speaker today.
Yes.
Ladies, triple amputee.
Triple.
With Parkinson's, and she's a doctor.
And she's
mute everybody.
It's just an amazing story.
Yes. So I am not going to go through all of this. I'm going to let Linda go ahead and she can share her screen. I'm going to let her speak.
Thank you so much, Sharon, for inviting me to be part of your program today. I know some of you have heard part of my talk before, so pardon me with some of the slides you will have seen, but hopefully you will have forgotten a little bit about it. So my life as an amputee and our lives as Parkinson's patients have many similar challenges. Challenges we didn't ask for, and challenges that we share with our families, our friends, and our caregivers. Things like walking, trouble with our hands, and sometimes looking funny. Let me introduce myself the way I heard many times 41 years ago. Linda Olson is a 29-year-old third-year radiology resident who was involved in a train versus motor vehicle accident in Berchtesgaden, Germany. This resulted in traumatic amputations of both legs above the knee, a high above elbow amputation on the right side, and fractures of the thoracic and lumbar spine. 3.5 weeks after the accident, the patient was medevaced back to the Naval Regional Medical Center in San Diego. Since I never lost consciousness, I could remember everything that happened when our van stopped on the railroad track. I could see a monstrously huge train coming toward us. I remember trying to get out of the van and rolling out onto the track. Then, looking into my husband Dave's eyes as he grabbed me and for an instant held me in his arms. The braking train screeched toward us, and just when it couldn't get any louder, there was an earth-shaking crash as the locomotive smashed into the van, toppling it over onto me and pinning me under it as I lay on the track. Maybe I can stay alive if I hold my breath long enough. If I let it out, I'll never breathe again because of the van pressing down on me. I'm moving, sliding down the track. And then it stops. I have no feeling, but in the stillness, I hear strange words. It doesn't matter what they are. If I can hear them, I'm still alive. The train backs up. I hear shouts as people grunt and strain to lift the van. I'm told later that I was pushed the distance of 2 football fields down the track before the crumpled mass of me and the van came to a halt. It was actually less than 30 seconds from start to finish. I look up and I can see the sun. Strangers are looking down at me, and they're easy to see because my glasses are still on my face. I smile as they talk to me. Uh-oh, something's not right. They're speaking gibberish. And then I remember, I'm in Germany. They must be speaking German. They just pulled the van off of me, and I'm alive. Waking up in the Salzburg Trauma Hospital, I know where I am. I know what happened. What I don't know is how Dave is doing. I haven't seen him since the accident. I've been told that he broke his ankle and was knocked out. But will he be okay? Will he be okay having a severely disabled wife when he married a cute, slim doctor whom he hiked with, biked with, and traveled with? What if I can't do those things with him anymore? Why would he want to stick around? The double doors swing open and I hold my breath as Dave hobbles in with crutches, his left leg in a walking cast. I feel like I need to be strong for him, So I smile as he reaches the side of my bed, all the while silently rehearsing the 2 sentences I'd carefully memorized. I've been thinking about things. I'll understand if you don't want to stick around, and then I wait. He let go of the crutches and tears ran down his cheeks as he squeezed my hand. I didn't marry your arms and your legs. If you can do it, I can do it. We'd been married less than 2 years when the accident happened. I remember saying the old-fashioned vows to have and to hold, for better, for worse. We thought we knew what those words meant, but what if the minister had looked into the future and said to us, "Do you promise to stay together if a train hits you and Linda loses her legs and an arm and breaks her back until death do you part 50 or 60 years later?" It was really hard for me to understand why Dave would want to stay with me until he sat me down one day and said, "Olsie," that's his favorite name for me, "put your self in my place. What would you do if I'd been on the tracks instead of you?" I hadn't thought of it in those terms. And then he said, "You need my muscles, but I need your spirit and positive energy." And so we started our journey together. My first role was to make everyone feel good, convince them we'd be okay. My cheery, "Hi, how are you?" rang out every time someone came into the room. Transatlantic phone calls ended with, "Wow, you sound normal." And my answer was, "I'm the same person, just a lot smaller." Every morning, I knew I had a choice to make. I could keep my eyes closed and moan and groan, or I could sit up, look out the window at the fortress on the hill, have someone open the sliding glass door and think about what we could do today. Something that would get us one day farther away from the accident and one day closer to the new normal. It was going to take a long time to work through this. There was no time for why or what if or blame. I knew it would take all the energy I had to move on. Dave took charge by setting up a schedule which consisted of breakfast, reading, bathing, visiting family, and lots of daily time outside. On our first trip to the garden, we'd noticed something highly unusual. They were selling beer in the hospital lobby. All of a sudden, we had a plan. When everyone arrived the next afternoon, we loaded up books and blankets, rolled our wheelchairs down to the lobby, bought a few bottles of beer, and paraded out to the garden. Looking at this now, I can't tell if Dave is making me drink the beer or because I've already had too much to drink. From then on, we held court every afternoon outdoors with the warm September air smelling of cut grass and flowers. We tried to outdo each other with jokes and funny stories, becoming more ribald as the afternoon shadows grew longer. My goal was to make everyone laugh, to see the future as positive, and to avoid tears and negativity. After everyone left at night, we forced ourselves to talk until 9 o'clock in the evening. And we did, we watched the clock to make sure it was 9 because we were tired, and yet we kind of knew that it was our only time to do this together. At first, it was just Dave. He picked things out of our life that we enjoyed, like music, work, travel, reading, and eating out. He concentrated on what we could do and what needed to be done. It was useless to talk about what we couldn't do. Dave has always been a black and white sort of person. His immediate response to a problem is to create a solution. Notice that I didn't say look for or think about. I said create. He also tried to make sure it was a reasonable solution. It's tough to tell if that's reasonable because that's his handwriting. That'd be, I think, the typical doctor handwriting, and I still struggle trying to read that, but it's there, and you can tell it's old because it's yellowed. Thinking and planning were the two things he did, and a notebook suddenly appeared one morning, and he asked me to start writing down my goals for what I thought we needed to accomplish. So this is the first week we were in the hospital, and as you might guess, since most of us are right-handed, when I lost my right arm, I had to learn to write with my left. And so part of what I was doing was practicing handwriting And as you can tell, that kind of looks to me like a first or second grader. And it was really interesting because it was hard to spell things when I started writing with my other hand. But this was a list of the 9 things that I thought would be important in my life. I tried to put the components of my life out on paper, and I then took each of them and wrote down what I thought I needed to concentrate on. So you can see I'm not going to read through all those. Our marriage was uppermost in my mind. That was what I was most worried about. Knowing that I'd have to lean on Dave, but wanting to maintain our very different personalities was a big issue for me. At the top of my rehab list was that I wanted to be able to do the activities of daily living. I wanted to be able to drive again and to use artificial legs to walk. And I wanted to go back to work. That was huge. I was 9 months from finishing my radiology residency when the accident happened. So I was in the right specialty. You can do radiology with 1 hand and 2 eyes and a dictating machine, and that's about all I had. So I knew I could go back to that. Our last night in the Salzburg Hospital came in late September. 5 surgeons filed in and stood at the foot of our beds to bid us an emotional farewell. 3.5 weeks before, these vastly experienced, gray-haired trauma surgeons had saved my life. The one who was fluent in English spoke for them. "We have something we'd like to say. We've been watching you for the past 3 weeks. If you were Austrian, you might not have opened your eyes yet. You've shown us what we believe is the American spirit." Dave and I were silent, not wanting to break the spell. We knew it was time to leave the Unfall-Krankenhaus, the trauma hospital in Salzburg, and our castle on the hill. It was time to go home and prove these men right. With Dave's love, I knew we could do it. We were medevaced back to the Balboa Naval Regional Medical Center, where Dave went back to his residency as a radiation oncologist in the Navy. There were very few triple amputees in the United States, and the doctors who consulted on my case told us I'd probably never be able to walk. Then I met Lieutenant Donna Pavlik, a hard-driving 29-year-old woman who pushed me, pulled me, cajoled, and provoked me. My goal was to get her to laugh every day. Hers was to get me to concentrate. But our enthusiasm was contagious. Other patients and therapists watched and helped. A stranger looking in would have seen people laughing, sitting or lying on the floor, butt walking, doing 1-hand pull-ups or lopsided 1-hand push-ups, all of them vying to see who could have the best time. Sweat rolled down my face as I stood in my new legs, legs that looked something like they'd come from a plumbing store. Clutching the parallel bar with my left hand, I lifted one leg and put it back down. "Hey, hun, remember, it takes a baby a year to walk. Give it time," Dave said. Up and down the halls we walked, then out onto the hospital grounds, tethered to Donna by a rope and a belt around my waist. And for many of us now, as we've gotten older and have difficulty walking, many of you know what that belt and that rope is around your waist. People see me. Some of them say hi, but most look away because they don't know what to say. I say to myself, "I'm just like you. In fact, this could be you." All of us know how that feels here. A lot of us don't want to go out and get out and do things because we think we look funny. So that's my message today. We can get out and look funny and have a good time. 4 months after I tried on my fake legs, I walked a mile. I was thrilled, over the moon with happiness. 4 months before, life as I knew it had seemed to be over. But was it? Am I defined by my legs? What do you do once you get new legs? Are you the same person? Dave and I worked really hard to recreate our lives, and then one day we discovered we had really recreated. We were going to have a baby. And this was 9 months after the accident. So all of a sudden, this wasn't just about me anymore. There would be changing diapers, cooking, feeding, and playing with just one hand. We were going to be a family and do all those family things. We had to be as normal as possible. I returned to Los Angeles to finish my residency in radiology and gave birth to Tiffany in 1981. 3 years later, our son Brian was born. Our lives look pretty much like everyone else now. We'd get up early every morning. Dave would help me get my legs on. I'd get in my car, which was adapted for me to drive, take the kids to school, go on to work at UCSD, where I walked with my cane and worked 9 to 10 hours before going home to fix dinner and get everyone ready for bed. While Brian and Tiffany thought everyone's mom had a wheelchair, an elevator, and walked with a cane, their friends thought I was kind of weird. When told I'd lost my arm, their friends often wanted to help me find it. After all, that's what you do when you lose something. Having kids forced us to innovate, to get out and go. First, it was the nearby beach in San Diego, at least twice a week, with dinner in the sand and beach toys. And one of the things that you'll see if you get a copy of my book is one of the things Dave made me do within the first couple of months after the accident was put me in my bikini and carried me down to the beach and made me sit on the beach. And I just sat there and I just cringed. And he said, I want everybody to see you. I love you. You're sexy. And this is who you are. And we've been going, this is the beach right here. So if any of you know where the Scripps Pier is in La Jolla, that's our beach right there. So you can go visit it and that'll be Linda's beach. I'd loved the outdoors, hiked Mount Whitney and Half Dome, both of them twice. I'd been to the bottom of the Grand Canyon, but because I thought I'd feel bad about all the things I couldn't do, we had not been back into the great outdoors. Brian was 5 and Tiffany was 8 when my college roommate Carla called one day and said, hey Linda, when are you going to get your butt back outdoors and go camping? You raising city slickers or real kids? And just like that, we had a new team, our camping team, a rambunctious Montana family with 2 kids. Yellowstone became the first chapter of our travel saga. For 5 days, we canoed the remote south end of Yellowstone Lake, which was accessible only by non-motorized boats. Did we ever get back into the wilderness? Canoeing and kayaking became the conveyances of choice. 10-day-long trips, usually over 100 miles of lakes and rivers, places where we rarely saw anyone else. We camped in the dirt, where I was queen in my kitchen without walls. I butt walked down to the shore to the lake and I pumped water through the filters. It might have looked funny, but it was fun and I felt like I was contributing. At the end of the first trip, we realized the need to carry me, and so Dave concocted the first of many backpack frames. My vanity got in the way the first few times, so the first few editions saw me with my legs on, a totally stupid way of doing things. It didn't take long to realize that fake legs were useless out in the wilderness and that we could go much farther without them. Plus, it was pretty entertaining to watch people's faces as they saw a 2-headed hiker coming toward them on the trail. So, legs became a thing of the past and they stayed home or in the car. Over the next 20 years, in addition to the wheelchairs, I was pulled on dog sleds, snow sleds, rode horses, rafted, and even wheelbarrowed in remote places. And that wheelbarrow, is that in that picture there? I don't see it. Maybe, oh, it may be covered by my stuff. So, not everything worked. The mermaid swimming plan failed, and that's me sitting over there in my bathing suit. And my prosthetist had made a pair of short little stubby legs for me, and then he'd hooked fins onto the end of the pipes, and that didn't work at all. And this is up in Squaw Valley, and I had been a skier for many, many years. So we thought, well, I'll learn how to ski. So he made me a pair of legs that had skis attached to them. And that didn't work very well either, because every time you just kind of lift your leg just a little bit, you'd only go like 3 or 4 inches. There are much better ways to ski than that. So that was another one that didn't really work too well. Everyone that knows us would say that our lives were normal. And so after 30 years of interpreting over 500,000 imaging studies at the University of California, San Diego, I agreed with Dave that it was time to retire. Time to enjoy our granddaughter, travel, and enjoy life. Time to figure out new ways to do things like paddling a kayak. We had kayaked for years, and one day we were down at Mission Bay and I had a brand new life jacket and it was really tight. And I put it on and I zipped it up and I thought, ooh, wait a minute. You know, I took it off and we stuck the paddle through it and discovered that if I cinched it up really tight, if any of you know how you kayak, you lean into the paddle, I could just kind of apply it to my chest and I could paddle and I could actually make the boat go. So I was pretty excited by doing that. So the point being that things keep changing and you never know when you're going to figure out a new way to do something that lets you do something you thought you couldn't do before. And then it happened. It's Christmas Day and we're expecting 30 people for dinner. Our grown children are happily cooking, but I am freaking out. Out of nowhere, I start yelling at them. Hurry up, we aren't going to make it in time. What's wrong with you guys? I'm hyperventilating and shaking. What is wrong? Linda, the cool as a cucumber person, has lost it, which has never happened. It didn't happen even after the train hit me. 5 weeks later, we heard the words, I think you have Parkinson's disease. Our smart medical friends all say, you can't have that. You don't have the typical signs. Wanting more certainty, I seek a second opinion, but they can't make the diagnosis either. Ben, the radiologist inside me, says, go ahead, get the nuclear medicine scan so you'll know if it's true or not. As I watched the images appear on the monitor, I could see the abnormality, an absence of radionuclide uptake. Oh no, it's another amputation, but this time it's part of my brain that's missing. Dave and I start talking and thinking about the little things that have snuck into my life over the past few years. Difficulty writing, occasional slurred speech, restlessness in my arm and a leg, and that anxiety. So it seems like we're back to square one. We've been hit and knocked down again. What are we going to do? Well, 41 years ago, I was working out all day in physical therapy to get strong enough so I could walk. As you all know, exercise is even more important for me now. But as you can imagine, with only one limb, it's hard for me to do enough exercise to get sweaty and raise my heart rate. So I have learned how to do things like one-arm push-ups, which I have to admit I don't do anymore because it kind of did a number on my arm. But I can do them if you want to challenge me to them. We could have a, well, by the time we're done, maybe we need to have a little gathering where we do a little challenge to see who can do what. I've got one more to show you though before we're done. So one of my missions has become finding alternative ways to exercise, to find a new team to work with, just like I did when I had to do physical therapy and we started camping. Luckily in Southern California, we do have lots of possibilities. I've begun, I forgot I had it. Oh, I didn't know it was my video. I thought it was just a slide, sorry.
Nice.
Yeah, I won't make you watch all 21 of them. Okay, there we go. So I've been working with Caroline Jordan from her fitness program, and she, in conjunction with me, has created a lot of chair or seated cardio exercise. And as she and I are fond of saying, these are not your grandma's kind of cardio exercise. These are the kind that hopefully make you sweat just a little bit. So Caroline has become kind of my savior in this. And thank you to Sharon and this group. Just a few weeks ago, I watched one of your programs and I became acquainted with Rogue and Claire. And even though I can't do everything you're all doing, I start out doing them and then I put it on, take my video off so you can't see what I'm doing because I'm going up and down. I can get over on the couch without my legs on, and I can kind of stand up and I can kind of lean over and do some of these, and then I get down on the floor and kind of follow around. So I can do about 80%, and I think this has been a wonderful, wonderful thing for doing. So one of the other things that I have taken the time to do, and that is what most of us forget, that all of the muscles that we have, including our voice and our diaphragm, we have a program here in San Diego called Audibility, and this is a very busy slide, I'm sorry for that, but one of those programs that I tend to forget about, and I have actually started taking harmonica lessons in the last few months, again, for using my diaphragm, and I have found, and for using the muscles in my cheeks so that I don't stop smiling. So, and I found the harmonica a lot harder than I thought it was going to be. I feel like a failure some days, but that's okay. It's good for me to be doing. So anyway, so I wanted, and I think all you who saw this in Kyoto, this is one of my favorite little challenges these days, because when people feel sorry for me that I can't do things, I like to remind them that there's one thing I can do better than they can do, and here it is.
Hello, this is Caroline Jordan, and today I am going to try and win a butt race with Linda K Olson. So, wish me luck. Okay, here we go, Linda. All right, we have to be lined up, our butts lined up, legs out. Yep. You ready? 3, 2, 1, go. Okay, no, wait a second. This is so hard. Want to do it going back? Yeah.
Okay. So, within a year of diagnosis, I realized it was getting harder to walk. At first, I didn't know what it was. I thought it was just me being older and 40 years of being an amputee. And it finally dawned on me that this was my version of Parkinson's. Since I don't have feet, can't shuffle my feet, and since I'm in a wheelchair most all the time now, my stiffness doesn't show because I'm sitting. So we bought a van and put a wheelchair lift in it with an electric wheelchair. And the good news was that for the first time, I could get out and go a lot easier because I was using an electric wheelchair. It doesn't matter so much if I have to park a long ways away from the store. I just push the joystick and rev up my wheelchair, and I can race off at 5 miles an hour. I can leave everybody in the dust. So another one of those silver linings that you never know. We're maybe going downhill, but sometimes there's something that comes along that makes things go better. This was the trip to Japan last year, and this is Dave and my daughter and my granddaughter in the background, and it was kind of steep, so they just pick me up and carry me. So another reason that you should have kids so that they can help you when you get old. So, and I've discovered that I have to behave, because if they get mad at me, they're likely to take my legs and take the wheelchair and leave me in the car, which also happened after the on our trip to Japan, but it was mainly out of fun rather than anger. So we're getting to the end here. I think my message, I hope everyone recognizes this is a trip we made to Machu Picchu about 7 or 8 years ago. Again, things that you do that you think you can't do, but when you get enough people to help you, and if you have enough determination and you're willing to do things a little bit differently, you can get there. So I think with most of us, we've learned that our condition, whether it's a physical condition or a mental condition or a chronic health condition, sometimes the hardest thing we have to do is learn to accept that it's real. And once you get to the point where you've accepted it, you start adapting. And once you really want to do something, you find new ways to do things and to innovate. So my message to all of us is, and I think from the women that I have seen here, that little bit I know about you, I think you're probably all doing this. We're all getting out, and we've got to keep going wherever it is that takes us, and let's go. So there you go. We're done. Thank you.
Oh, Linda.
Amazing.
That's amazing. That's absolutely amazing.
Because it's fun. What we're intent on is having fun, and that's my message. So let's go. Let's do it. You guys do it with me.
Okay. All right. We're going to take you off of screen share.
Okay.
Stop sharing your screen, then we can see everybody, and we can open. Okay. So here's the rules. Please, if you can, go to the chat and ask your questions in the chat, and we will be, rather than calling on people because we'll miss you that way, just go into the chat and ask your questions. Anything is okay. I talked to Linda. You can ask her anything you want. All I can say, Linda, is that I don't know how you do it. We've all got, everybody goes through the 5 stages of grief, I think, after diagnosis. I mean, you have to. I mean, it takes a long time to come to terms with it. But you did it all with a smile on your face, and I'm just amazed. So thank you for sharing your story with us.
Well, and I like to think of it, I had 2 different kinds of processes. That one was sudden. I had nowhere to go but up. And this one that we're all dealing with is a little bit different. It doesn't have a lot of ups to it, so we have more mental issues to deal with, I think. But I don't think it changes what we can do. It's still our choice of wanting to be happy and putting our energy into it, no matter what happens to us. So I learned a lot from the first one. I hope it carries me through the second one.
But I think watching you and hearing you speak about your experiences, for all of us, I mean, what we're going through is minor. You know, we can all get there. We can all aspire to be like you, have a smile on our face, and work on our smiles, please. Yeah.
And have a good time.
Because smiling is good for your facial expression and it keeps you from having that mask so bad.
Yep, that is exactly right.
And whistling too.
It also increases the dopamine, gives you dopamine hits. So, Kelly, did you have oh, and that's Kim. I thought it was Kelly. Okay, Kim, you're picking.
I see in the chat that Carol is asking Linda, do you ever get mad at Dave because he asks, well, he doesn't necessarily ask, but because of his encouraging you to do things that maybe you don't want to do?
I did. And we've talked about this over the years. It was probably one of the biggest things that made me do things. And, you know, I was really enthusiastic and I was strong and I was ready to do these, but when I would get tired, Dave reminds me, he said that more than several times I would just look at him late at night and I'd say, do I really have to do this? And it was kind of me saying, keep pushing. So yes, I would get unhappy with him and he's very strong. I mean, he would just taking me to the beach. I was not happy about that. I had to put my arm over his shoulder. He carried me down there, but it worked. And every time he made me do something, I thought he's only doing this because he loves me and he wants me to get stronger. So it was positive. Yes.
That's great. Also, I have somebody asking, does your book have a name yet?
It does. I had a working title that the publisher did not like. And when she did the book, she came up with, I think, an awesome title. She called it Gone, a memoir of love, body, and taking back my life. So the second part is okay, but Gone, she said, I went back and reread the first chapter and she said, you kept talking about how you looked down and your legs were gone. Everything was gone. So that's the way to remember the title of the book. It's Gone. And then
Okay. And when will that be out? When are you hoping?
You can pre-order it now, but it actually will be in the bookstores in a week from now on Tuesday, October 27th. So yeah.
Okay.
I will send everybody the information, the name and name of the book and everything. What was your working title?
It was called I Didn't Marry Your Arms and Your Legs. If I Can Do It, You Can Do It. And, you know, whenever they said that, just gives it away and it's just too mundane. But it is our mantra. We've said that for years. If I can do it, you can do it. But she did a good job. So
Yeah. So Lauren says, I'll never complain about push-ups again.
I'm excited for you that you found Claire from Rogue. She's an amazing inspiration to a lot of us, I think.
Do you work with her in person? Because I've only done this, I've emailed her and we've talked and I would love to meet her in person sometime, but did you work with her?
I know there's a lot of people who have worked with her in person. I haven't personally. Lauren perhaps has, I'm not sure.
Huh. Well,
I know.
Yes, I have.
Susan Medlin has, and I actually got to meet her on Friday. So that was one.
I've met her at numerous events that she has spoken at or had booths at different events, but to actually work out, I wish she was closer to me, and she's not that far, but.
Well, I have a question for all of you. I thought about this last night and I thought, okay, I'm going to use you a little bit. Do any of you have anxiety as one of your big symptoms?
All right, you know, I'm going to mute everybody, and please, if there's noise in the background, mute yourselves, but go ahead. You can raise your hand. I'm going to put you on gallery. Let's put everybody on gallery view. I think it's easier. If you're not on gallery view, put it on gallery view. And
I'm going to let you do it, Sharon, because on an iPad, I only see 9 people.
I see 9. If you're on a computer, you're going to see 50. And that's just about that. Everybody should be on there. Raise your hand if you've had anxiety problems. Quite a few. Yeah, that's.
Does anybody have the answer because mine's getting worse? It's my symptom.
Drugs.
CBD
Preferably legal drugs, right, Sharon?
CBD oil.
It's legal now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The anxieties also because of lockdown and because of the political situation, you know, that everything seems to be sort of crowding in onto us, doesn't it? Not just the Parkinson's, it seems to me.
Yeah.
Yeah, I doubled my doctor doubled my antidepressant drug, and I also started practicing deep breathing exercises, and that's helped considerably.
That's what I've been doing. I think that's been the most helpful. That's kind of
Good.
A few drops of CBD oil under your tongue.
really.
I do both. I do CBD oil in the evening, and I also do a lot of Qigong every day, prescription, Qigong.
Yeah.
It's a lot of breathing exercise and meditation. It really works for me.
Okay. Okay.
Breathing and singing.
Oh yeah.
So
Okay. All right.
I'll
well,
start singing a tune and my husband will know that I'm having some anxiety then. But I usually sing my way out of my anxiety. I've had very few major attacks lately.
I will try that because I've got a piano out. I used to play I was a very good pianist and I played the pipe organ, but I had not thought about singing. I will go do that as soon as we hang up.
If I sing, I cause everybody else anxiety.
Not true.
Radio, and my husband's like, "Why are you singing?" I know my doctor I had been on one antidepressant, and my doctor decided to switch me to something newer, and my anxiety attacks came back. So it depends on the medication too. You would assume as a you would know that stuff, but we had a real, and he had to put me on third one to handle things. That's one I'm on a different drug that works and handles the anxiety, and I'm better. But yeah, it's everybody's and being on lockdown, you know, lives are not normal.
Right.
Linda, I'm not sure if you're familiar with tremble clefs, but we do tremble clefs 3 times a week on Zoom. And so that's a lot of the singing and such. And I know you had talked about that to keep your voice and everything.
Yeah. I didn't, you know, I know they have it here in San Diego, but I just had never joined. But that's a thought with it being online. I had not thought about that.
Right. Yeah. We have a lot of people that are not from the area. You know, once and when we actually go back to meeting, it'll change. But for right now, we have a lot of people that come join us, and you know, they're from all over.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay.
Kelly,
Parkinson's Congress is doing sing-alongs. Have you been to those? They're international sing-alongs.
Yes.
oh wow.
Yes.
Who's that?
The second Wednesday of the month. They did one like this week. And they're doing one on I'll put it in here, the dates.
Okay, yeah, I will send all the information out. So if you have anything you want to put it in the chat, and I will send it to everybody. Kelly has her hand raised.
Yes, I want to thank Linda. I mean, I'm going to start crying here if I'll try not to. I'm so inspired by you. It's amazing, and now I know for sure that I can do anything. I know that. And that I have really allowed myself to just kind of sit in my problem more than I should. I had just changed my medication, so it's finally, I think it's working okay. But I mean, even if it's not working okay, it's so inspiring to know that whatever hoop you have to jump through, you just jump through it, you know. I was thinking about taking something for the anxiety as well, but you know, I'm 31 years sober, and I'm resistant to taking anything really. I mean, I hate the fact that I take medication, period. I've been with Parkinson's now for 5 years, and so I mean, I never wanted to take a drug, you know. So I'm taking it the way it's given to me. But I'm just so inspired. My question was basically, where do I get your book? So somebody beats me to the punch. I so want to read your book, and this is my first time here. Just seeing the dedication to life that you have.
That's a great
it is really, really quite an inspiration. So I'm looking forward to, you know, coming to more meetings and just learning more about what I can do instead of what I can't do. So
Well
thank you
said.
so much. And I'm so inspired by you. Thank you so much.
Welcome, Kelly. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. Jenny.
Yeah, I just wanted to add my experience in terms of anxiety, is that anxiety was one of the worst things that I had to deal with. It was terrible for about a year and a half. And then it just went away. So I just want to put that out there, that it doesn't have to be forever, but I'm off the anti-anxiety medication and I'm doing just fine. I did remove some of the stresses. I retired from work. My husband took over the finances. So there was some concrete things to do to get stress out of my life, but I'm really anxiety free, which just seemed absolutely impossible to me 6 months ago. So I just like to put that out there.
Wow. Anybody else? No? No more questions, comments?
It was great.
Yeah.
Sure was.
Incredible.
I feel like on the East Coast, we're just not up to what you're all doing on the West Coast. I happen to be in the West Coast right now. I'm up in the San Francisco area. I took the plunge and got on a plane to visit grandchildren I hadn't seen in 11 months. And yeah, so it's a pleasure to do the road classes in your time zone. But I think that I live in the New York metropolitan area. I just don't feel like we have the classes that you're talking about. And I do look, but anyway, thank you, Sharon, again. It's been great since March, and yeah, and I've learned a lot in this group.
Lauren, can you tell everybody about the resources? You have a list.
Absolutely. I have a website, it's pdbuzz.com, and it originally started with local resources in Orange County, California, but we're slowly expanding out beyond that. But there is a seminar coming up specifically for people who are newly diagnosed that's with Claire at Rogue PT that everyone's been talking about here. It's on December 12th. Claire will be talking about exercise and nutrition and Parkinson's. I'll be talking about resources and about my journey with Parkinson's. We've got a couple other people speaking about Parkinson's, people who are kind of the outliers that are doing really well. Dr. Mindy Bixby, who's a movement disorder specialist, will be speaking about the basics of Parkinson's. So you don't have to live in the Orange County area to attend. It's virtual, it's online. I put the link in the chat. There'll be a lot of good information. And even though we're highlighting the resources in Orange County, we'll be talking about things like Rocksteady Boxing, which is international. So, you know, a lot of the resources you can find in your own area. And it's free.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you.
And there's on PD Buzz, there's a whole list of virtual resources with online Parkinson's exercise classes and support groups and all sorts of things, webinars, all sorts of things going on.
Yeah. And Lisa and Steph from PD Connect, who were the end of May, I think they did it. We exercised with them. They have online free exercise class, and you can find them at PD Connect. And like I said, I will put all of these in the in my later, all the resources that we have. But there's so many things you can do. And Linda, I think you've inspired everybody.
Right.
Absolutely.
The connection was nice. I really appreciate being able to connect with everybody. So it's a two-way street. So we'll keep at it.
Wow.
So if there are no more questions, I'm going to share my screen now again. And what happened to, we lost our tiara. Well, Linda, we always give a virtual tiara to our guests.
Oh.
Oh, yeah.
Have disappeared. I don't know where it is.
Oh, no.
You cannot wear it when you stand on your head. That's the only
requirement. I'm good at that.
Amazing. It's amazing.
And I'm going to turn it over to Sadie McCoy. Let's have Sadie become a co-host so she has some slides. Sadie is an Aware and Care ambassador from the Parkinson's Foundation, and she's going to talk about the Aware and Care kits, which are essential for every one of you. If you don't have one, they're free. And if you are traveling, whenever I travel, I put all my bottles in this bag. I have everything together. And if you go to the hospital, whatever, you have it all together, and it's important. So I'm going to stop sharing my screen, and I'm going to turn it over to, I guess I have to make you a co-host. So hold on.
Okay.
Sadie, there you are. Okay, Sadie, you wanted to share some slides, right?
Yeah, if that's okay. Otherwise, I can just talk and look at them on my screen, but.
No, I'm co-host, so you.
Oh, there we go. Okay, perfect. So, hi everyone. Let's see. No, there we go. Hi, I am Sadie McCoy. I'm a volunteer with the Parkinson's Foundation, as Sharon said, and she was so kind as to let me get a chance to talk to all of you today. I got to sit in on last week's, or excuse me, 2 weeks ago session and this week's session, and it's been absolutely inspiring, and I'm so glad I got to meet all of you. But I am going to talk about the Aware and Care Kit, and then I might sneak in a little bit about Moving Day Los Angeles, because I know a lot of you are in the LA area. So this is my contact information here. I'm sure Sharon could probably share that if anybody has any questions or anything for me at the end. Super brief overview of the Parkinson's Foundation. It's a foundation that's nationwide. We strive to make life better for people with Parkinson's disease. Their 3 main missions are research, education, and making lives better today for people with Parkinson's. If you want more information, please feel free to check out parkinsons.org. Or we have a helpline you can call 1-800-4PD-INFO. And I know specifically Carol, I believe, you can call the helpline and they can help you find resources and exercise groups and people in your area. So that might be something to look into. So the Aware and Care Initiative is designed to help people with Parkinson's get the best possible care in the hospital. You would think that going to the hospital is safe, right? We would all hope so. Unfortunately, it is not. 3 out of 4 people with Parkinson's don't receive their medications on time in the hospital.
I agree with that.
And 2 out of those 3 who don't receive it have serious complications due to it. Nurses have their set schedules that they run their medications on. They don't call your neurologist when you come into the hospital, which should be something that they do. There's a lot of stuff, mostly a lack of awareness, that is adding up into this. They don't understand the importance of Parkinson's medication timing, which all of us know. I'm sure there's been once or twice where you accidentally took your medication a little bit late, if you haven't actually had your own experience in the hospital. There's also many common medications are contraindicated. They're dopamine suppressors, which, as I'm sure most of you know, you don't really have enough dopamine as it is. You don't want your dopamine suppressed more. It makes mental confusion and other serious symptoms more prominent. And then they want to give you more medication because they're worried about these other symptoms that are coming up because you missed your medication or because you're on dopamine suppressors. So it just all adds up. Parkinson's patients are also more likely to have a hospital stay. And because of all of these issues with getting medications on time and that sort of stuff, Parkinson's patients end up having longer hospital stays. So in order to combat that, we have our Aware and Care Kits, which, as Sharon showed you, is this cute little bag. Lots of room to put your medications in. There's lots of fun stuff in here. There's an ID bracelet, a magnet, all that sort of stuff. But some of our key materials is we have this awesome little tear-off sheet that you can hand a sheet to any nurse that comes in to deal with you. The only time I've ever been in the hospital was when I was having my babies. But I know even for that process, you get a new nurse and they have to figure out what you want. You have to reintroduce yourself. You have to go through all of this stuff. This gives them a quick overview, special considerations for Parkinson's patients, medications to avoid, common symptoms of Parkinson's disease, all in this nice little tear-off sheet. You just tear it off, hand it to your nurse, and you've already taken a step in making sure that you're getting quality care. Another fun little thing that isn't necessarily for in the hospital but is great to have is we have a little wallet insert. So if there's an emergency and an EMT or even someone on the street finds you, you have this little card in your wallet that has your contact information, also medications to avoid, special considerations. My favorite, I'm not intoxicated, I have Parkinson's disease. You want to make sure that people are aware of that and they're able to get you the right care and make sure you're taken care of properly. Last but certainly not least of our key materials is our medication form, where again, you have your information, your doctors, your neurologist, and you fill out your medication. One thing I want to specifically stress with this is to put not just, I take this medication twice a day. Put, I take this medication at 9:15 and 4:15 every day. Because one of the big things is nurses have a 2-hour window or an hour window on either side. So if they think that you have to take your medication at 10, they can give it to you anytime from 9 to 11. And according to them, they're still in the clear. That's something that you want to focus on. Make sure people realize that 9:15 means 9:15. You kind of have to be your own advocate, especially in these times where you don't necessarily get to bring your advocate with you. If you have a hospital stay, it's important to be able to say, no, this is what I need, this is when I need it. And don't feel afraid to stand up for yourself. There's also on the back, you can say any special considerations. So if you have DBS or a DOPA pump, or you have special dietary needs, there's places to mark all of that so that they know and they're able to give you the best care possible. There are 3 ways to access our information, our Aware and Care kits now. I have a link which you can log into, kind of sort of similar to signing up for today. You give your name and your email address, and it'll send you an email. And that email actually has direct links to all of the printable resources that you can download and print out today. You can also order an Aware and Care packet, which is just an envelope that has all of the resources, not the fun bag. I'm not sure if it comes with the bracelet, but it's a little bit less of a shipping charge, so we are able to not charge you shipping. You can get that, order that for free. There will also be a link in the email. And then we have our full Aware and Care kits. Unfortunately, with how popular they are, we've had to start charging for shipping, which is $8. You can also get them from a Center of Excellence, Parkinson's Foundation staff, or me. If you're in the LA, Orange County, actually I'm up in the mountains right now, so San Bernardino area, I can order them in bulk for no cost, and I can pass them out to you. So if you would like an Aware and Care kit and you don't want to pay $8 for shipping, please feel free to contact me. I would love to get ones to you. I want to make sure that everyone has the opportunity to be aware and care. Any questions about that before I move on real quick to moving day?
Not a question, but I just had a comment. I used my Aware and Care kit recently when I had a knee replacement, and I ended up in the hospital for several days instead of just one night, of course, because of my Parkinson's. I have to tell you, it was so helpful. I was able to pass out those little pieces of paper that said, no, I can't take that pain medication. It's contraindicated. Here's a whole list of them. It was really, really, really helpful. I suggest everybody have one.
Thank you. Thank you. I'm so glad that it was helpful for you. That's the goal. That's the goal.
Yep. It was great.
All right. So really quick, moving on to moving day. I don't know if you guys know, but Sharon is actually on the planning committee with me for Moving Day Los Angeles. Since 2011, Moving Day has raised more than $27 million and has united more than 150 people in the fight against Parkinson's. It's the Parkinson's Foundation's big event every year. It's a chance to educate people in the community about Parkinson's disease. It's a chance to show how important movement is to fighting Parkinson's disease. And it's a chance to get funding to support our community. I know we were talking about Claire and Rogue PT. They actually received one of our community grants this year that was funded by Moving Day. So it's really important for getting programs. They're actually doing a newly diagnosed program right now that was funded by that grant. So super important. There's a lot of ways to get involved. Unfortunately, we are virtual this year, so we won't have a need for in-person volunteers, but you can still form a team, join a team. Sharon has her own team, Twitchy Women, that is
our own team, and you're welcome to join us. And we are still the top fundraiser for Moving Day LA.
Yes, her team is the top fundraiser. I think I saw Farrell on here, who I believe is our top fundraiser overall completely. So I'd love for any of you to come and join Sharon's team or even form your own team. I have a team. I think my grandma is on here, and we're grandma's team. But you can also, if you know of a company that would be interested in sponsoring the event, if you want to join our planning committee next year, there's lots of ways to get involved. Our walk is on November 14th at 10 a.m. It's a virtual walk. We have our video, I think, all put together now. So you just tune in on Facebook to Parkinson's Foundation, California chapter, I believe, and our walk will be there. We'd love to have you join us. Moving Day walks are also nationwide, so if you want to find a walk in your area, you can do so as well. And we actually have a Moving Day USA event for those people that don't have a walk close to them. So there's lots of ways to get involved. You can go to movingdaywalk.org to find one close to you, or you can go to movingdayla.org to join us. And then this link, the top link is the one I will send in the chat, which is for the Aware and Care Kit. And then the second link would be for Moving Day LA. Any other questions? Hopefully I didn't go too fast. I was just trying to get through as quick as I could with time. But
let's take you off screen share. Okay, great.
Yeah, there we go.
All right, now we can see if anybody has questions. Anybody? Okay, well, I would love it if you want to join Twitchy Women, please join our team. You can donate to our team. Keep us in the #1 spot. Yay. So I'm going to go back and share my screen again because I have a couple more things I want to share with you. So thank you, Sadie. It's been great.
Thank you so much.
A lot of fun on this committee. And let's see. So I have 2 more sessions scheduled. As I said before, in 2 weeks, do your hormones wreak havoc on your PD meds? And this is going, we have a panel discussion with Dr. Maria De Leon, who was our speaker a long time ago, and 3 of our women will be on the panel discussion. And then if I can figure it out, we are going to break out into meeting rooms, and you can join whichever one is appropriate for you for a small group discussion about, you know, hormones and your medications and whatever other questions you have. And then November 15th, we're going back to the Parkinson's Foundation with PD Generation. This is their Mapping the Future of Parkinson's Disease. And I saw Denise Coley is on. She's going to be speaking as a patient who has been working on this project. And we will also have a researcher. So it should be very interesting. And I think that is it. So I will see you again. Anybody, if you want to stay on till 11:30, you are welcome to stay and talk. Questions, chats, whatever, you know, just catch up with old friends. love to have you stay on and talk. And otherwise, I will see you again in 2 weeks.